Hey guys, this is Techo Freak here, and welcome to, I believe it's episode 5 of my Let's CS custom story creation tutorial for Amnesia. In this episode, we're going to be doing lighting. Yes, last episode we were working on making our room look nice and fancy and stuff like that, and we ran out of time, and I didn't want to make the video too long. I've been trying to cut back on the video sizes. And yeah, so I'm just gonna split them up into more episodes because I'm sure you guys don't want to watch like a 50-minute video on things. And if you want to see a specific topic and not like a bunch of them in one video, you might want to look at those videos instead. So I'm trying to manage that a little better because I've been doing very badly with that. So yeah, here we have our simple room, and last thing we did, I believe, was put down a window. And there's just one more problem before I wanted to start out the map, because I was hoping to do it last episode, but it didn't go through because we need to get into lighting first. And that's what this whole episode is going to be about, just some lighting techniques that will be, fairly nice and stuff like that. Our room looks pretty bright, as you can see, but actually, if we click off these two here, the atmosphere and pressure, I believe they're called, you can see that the room goes incredibly dark. So if you were to spawn in here, this is how it would look. This is how in the game your eyes would adjust, so you'll be able to see some stuff, but this is about it. This is all you'll be able to see. So we can't have that. We need light. We need it to be bright in here. So I want to show you guys some cool lighting techniques that we can work on. Just going to talk about some little candle lights maybe, and then we'll move to some more cool stuff going into this window over here. So without further ado, let's get started. So maybe I want to put a bedside candle somewhere. So maybe right here we're going to put a candle. So to find everything light, we go into entities, and under entities we find lamp right here. I know it's a weird category, but here is where all the lights are. So I wanted to get perhaps just a candlestick here, and we're also going to need to click on create on surface so that we can create it on surface without an issue. And we're going to go ahead and place it down right there. As you can see, it has its own light, and I'm going to save the map. It has its own light, so if we turn on the thing, you can see that it does emit its own light, but it's very poor. It's very little, and I'm sure you guys don't want to have tons of candles like these all over the room to light them up. Well, that's why we have something known as the lights, and we can create lights in different forms. So let's go ahead and try and put a light here. Well, oops, let me undo that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn back the light on. And so there's 3 types of light. I think I explained them already in the first time we were learning the editor, but I'm just going to go over them one more time. We have box lights, so that when you're in this area here, everything's bright. So let's go ahead and turn down the atmosphere and pressure. As you can see, out of the whole other room, this area here is lit. So if the player were to be in here, he could see everything in this area. But we obviously don't want that. Or if we just wanted the room to be perfectly bright to begin with, we could just put a box that covers the whole area of the room, and everything will be lit in the room without a problem. But we're not going to make these kind of lights. We wanted to have more of a realistic effect, and we don't want the room to be too bright. So we're going to use point lights. The other spotlight, you can aim light in a certain direction. So we're going to be using this one for the window. But just showing you real quick what it is, you can aim the light in a certain direction. So I'm not sure if you can see it here. I don't think so, no. Well, it needs to reflect off of something. But don't worry, we'll get into that when we get to the window. Alright, so now let's work on making this light a little brighter. So we're going to go ahead and go back to lights, and we're going to select point light. So point light, you would think point light would be a spotlight, but it's really not. It's really just a radius of light. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy down, I guess, right here. We're going to go ahead and grab this guy and pull it up. Let's say we move it over here, and we turn down the light, turn off the lights, and we bring it down, you can see that it has its own little radius of light. This is going to be what we're going to use for like candles and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy right on top of that candle, because we want that candle to have a little more light. So we're gonna go up. We're gonna push it this way. Maybe, yeah, like kind of this way, because that's around the way it would spread. Maybe push a little forward here. Yeah, like that I think is fine. It'll give it the feeling that it's emitting forward. So next we want this light to be a little bit bigger. So the name is point light 1, and there's some little settings that you can change here, the position and all that. But we just really interested in the radius. The radius is how big this circle is going to be. So if these can't, on standard just normal candles, I like to use 3. For bigger candles, I like to use 5. Since they have more candles and stuff like that, I like to give it more of a realistic feeling. But here I'm going to use 3. We could always change that, but 3. So let's go ahead and turn off the lights, and we can see that this is the effect we get. A lot brighter than before. So now if we were to delete this, you can see the difference in it. So I want that corner to be covered. So maybe over here, right there, would be a good call. Over here would be nice too. So like this would be nice. And yeah, I like that. That looks pretty good. So this would be it. Or maybe we can make it cover the whole area. So it's a little tricky how you want to light your room, because it's always a little tricky how you want to get everything set up. Maybe we can increase this guy to 4. Yeah, I like 4 better. So we're going to stick with pull 4 here. Alright, so basically we just have this area lit where the person would technically spawn. Don't worry, we're going to do a spawn point too by the end of this episode, so we can start up our map. Okay, so let's turn on the lights again, and let's mess around with these kind of lights a little more. So maybe want another one of those candles here. We can always get a little bit interchangeable. Maybe we can use the light like this here. There's also these floor lights. These are the ones that we're talking about, where I like to put a larger radius, just because it's like it will emit more light technically. So let's see what else. What else do we have to choose from here? Those chandeliers are more for a larger map. But I mean, yeah, you can choose which one you want. I think I'll just stick with standard floor ones. There we go. Alright, so I think I'll stick more with these. So let's put one here. Maybe one on the table here to emit light to this place. And maybe another bedside light here, but it won't emit as much light as that one. Alright guys, I am back. Had a little issue with my mouse, and I just realized this painting is upside down. Let's fix that. It's no issue. Let's just rotate it. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, back to where we were. We're putting lights. Alright, so that one's there, and then the last one I think I'll put over here. So we'll put this guy over here. And I think it's good for now. So there's all these lights, but again, we turn off these two. You can see that they don't provide much light. So let's go ahead and do exactly what we did over here, just to give the room a little bit more of a lighty feeling. So let's turn these guys back on. Let's get here. Let's bring this down here, just because I was having some issues. Alright, so now we gotta come here, and we want to put a light here. Bring it up, and increase the radius to, let's do 3. Turn this off. Let's go for 4, just to keep it about the same. Alright, so from here, I just like to hit Control D to duplicate, and then I can just drag this over here. Alright, and then from here I'll change this guy to 5, just because the torch is sort of larger. I mean, yeah, the torch is like sort of larger, so I like to make it a bit larger. So then you can do that. A little creative. You can go ahead and continue to duplicate this, right? I'm bringing it down to where the edge of this light finishes. So this is around where it finished. If I delete this, you can see that it finishes around here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to change the radius to, let's say, 3. So then it looks like the light spreads a little, and then we can duplicate it again, and go forward, and go down, and then we can change this radius to 2. And let's get it more to this side. And it kind of gives it the feeling that it's kind of stretching out and just finishing there. We can do the same thing with this guy over here. Give it the feeling that it's extending a bit forward. And just adds a little better realism to it. Of course, I'm not the best with map making. Mainly because I don't like it to begin with. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this again. And then bring it down here. Change the radius to 2. Let's move it over a little bit here. Okay, so now we can do the same thing over here. Or, not even, we could just light this candle up over here. So let's go ahead and do the same thing here. Missed that one. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so we want another one of these right above this candle in the center. Okay, and now we want another one of these guys over here by this dresser, where this other candlestick is. A bit too inward, like right there. And then this guy's going to be 5. So it's one of these guys over here. Okay. I could just duplicate that same one to bring it over to the other corner where this guy lies. Alright, put it right there. And again, I could do that kind of effect where it just kind of wears down after a little bit of a distance. Change this guy to 4. And then let's just finish it off with a 2. Come back here. Alright. Maybe I could even move it a little bit more that way. Or I could let the window do that one. Okay. So, let me make sure we got the right amount of light. This guy could wear off here, so like we can make another one. Bring it downward. And give that one a radius of 3. Alright. So, now that we have that, we can go ahead and work on this window. So for this window, I wanted to do a cooler looking effect, just because there's a lot of cool looking effects out there for that people do with these kind of things, and then I kind of wanted to give it another cool effect too. You could just make the effect using a spotlight. So you just put down the spotlight. And I think I've shown you guys how this is already. I'll turn this around so that it can face the way that the window's facing. I want to get it somewhat right here maybe. And then come up. And now we're going to aim this guy downward towards the floor. Alright, so now here is where we can add some cool stuff. So here, if we go to Gobo, we can see some cool looking effects in terms of windows. So we want the standard window, which is this one right here, and now we want the radius to increase. So we can just edit these right here through field of view. Let's go ahead and change this guy to 100. So that's going to change that and make it a bit larger. Let's keep it a little bit more condensed, and let's change the radius to 5. So right away you can see that we're getting the effect. It looks upside down. So we want to change that. But first let's go with 3. yeah, this involves a little bit of positioning and stuff like that. So now let's rotate it. Okay, so that looks about right. So now we're going to lower this guy, maybe towards the center. Alright. We might want to rotate it too. So that's... maybe that seems about right. Yeah, that looks about right. So field of view, let's try 70. It becomes a little wider, so I say we keep it at like 50. Nah, that's too small. So I think 60 was a good number then. Radius, let's try 4. Ooh, that's a lot better. Let's go for 5 and see how that looks. Okay, that looks a lot better. Let's rotate this guy up. Alright, and let's also move it back into the window like this. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So let's try some other of these buttons. Okay, the aspect changes that. So let's try 1.1. 1.1. I actually like 1.1. Cool. So 1.1 seems pretty good. I like the little effect it has, and it brings in a little extra light in that point right there. We can also amp it up a little bit more, so we can duplicate this guy. And let's just turn off the gobo and make sure that it has nothing. So let's just erase this in here. And now it's just a spotlight. So we want it to move a bit forward. Let's change the radius back down to 3. Let's see how that is. We're going to rotate this guy this way. And then we'll move this down. Okay, so now let's let's change the radius to 4. Let's move this guy a little bit back. Alright, there we go. So that gives us a little extra light right here at the end, where technically most of the light should be reaching out to. And we have this cool looking effect that's coming from the window. So now there's some other stuff we can do. Next is we're gonna do a quick particle system trick. So let's just go right here to particle systems, and now we need the particle system file. So in your it's gonna take you right to the Amnesia root folder, and you're gonna find your particles folder. And now here there's a bunch of different types of effects that you can use. But we're looking for dust effect. So here's the dust effect. So we want like falling, and we want to load this file. So let's go ahead and place this guy right here. And let's bring it up. Alright, let's take a look at what settings we got. So here's some settings and fade at distance, and just some things you can try out. But you can't see it here in the editor, so we won't be able to actually look at it. To look at it, we're going to have to start the game. So we're just going to have to trust that it's there. And we'll just leave it there, and we'll check it out when we start the map. So at this point, I believe we are pretty much done with just lighting in general. This room will come a little later. We're going to learn about doors and about that kind of stuff. Just doors and stuff. Next episode, since we're done here, next episode, we're actually going to get into the coding. We're going to learn about keys, we're going to learn about notes, and it's just going to be a blast. And I think I'm going to dedicate a whole episode to that. So 1 episode for notes, 1 episode for keys, and so look forward to that. So now, with the last bit of time we have left, I want to start up the map for the very first time. So go ahead and save, and we're going to review our whole custom stories folder. So now that we have this, we can minimize this. So here's our folder. It was on my desktop, like I told you guys. So we have already reviewed this multiple times, but I want to do it one last time before I actually start up the map. So in maps we have room 01, and then we have another HPS file that's called map name. Well, this will be named exactly this, but not yet, because we haven't gotten into the scripting, and all the scripting will happen in this file right here, and it's going to be named the same thing as the map that you want all the scripts to run. So as of yet, we're not going to be touching this. Next episode, we are definitely going to set this guy up. So just leave this with without the same name as this one. So this will be different from that name. So next, music. If you put anything in here, it doesn't matter. It won't affect anything. Sound, same thing. It won't affect anything. And now the custom story settings. So you want to see your settings here. So you might want to change this up. So the image file is going to be what this thing is called here. The name is going to be The Wake. The author is by me, Techo Freak. It's going all the maps are going to be in maps / right here. So if there was another folder, we would input that there. So if there was like another folder named chap 1, then we'll put another / and then all the maps for chapter 1 would be in here. So it allows for a bit more organization. So now this is the start map. So we're gonna start the map room 01. So we want to go ahead and change that to be room 01, because that's the first map we want to start. So we have that name. Now here's another part that it's called the player start area. So now we're gonna have to include this in our level editor. Let's pull this guy back up, and we're going to need a place for the player to spawn, because if you just start it up without a player spawn, it will spawn it randomly on the map, or I think it'll spawn it at the origin, which will be right here. So it won't be too bad, but we want him to spawn right over here next to his bed. So I'm going to go ahead and go to areas, and then we're going to find player start, and we're going to go ahead and put this guy down. Now we can click it and bring it up. So if you click away from this, you can see that it has 3 arrows by default. So the player will always be aiming the blue direction, and that's good, because that's what we want. If we click on it, you know, the arrows might change because this is bigger arrows, but we're looking at these smaller looking arrows right here. So those are the arrows that we want to look at. So the blue arrow has to be pointed in the direction that you want the player to be pointing at. So maybe I want him aiming a little bit this direction, just so he's not so stiff aiming in that direction. Let's do something like this. Okay, so I like that one. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit save. And if you can see the over here, the name is player start area 1. As you can see here, the start position is player start area 1. So if we wanted to name this like spawn, so let's do that. Let's name it spawn, and then let's hit enter, and I'll make sure we save our map. Over here we have to make sure that this is called spawn, and then we hit file and save. So now that they match, we can go ahead and minimize this. And so it's going to start in this map, and it's going to spawn them on the player's start position area named spawn. And that's about it for this file here. So now if you have an image in mind to put in for your map, you can go ahead and toss it in. It has to be a PNG image, so you gotta make sure it's that. But this one, yeah, this one's working. This photo should work with it. And just make sure it's a PNG image, and it should have no problem starting up. And just make sure that this is named exactly that. So at that, we are pretty much done. We can start our map for the very first time, and if there's no issues, we should not have a problem. So let's go ahead and copy this whole folder that has all of this, and let's go over to our Amnesia root, which mine is the Redis folder. So in here we go to custom stories. So this is basically like installing another mod that you've had. So we're going to toss that in there. It's just the wake. So now we can go ahead and start up Amnesia. Alright guys, we're back, and we're here at the main Amnesia screen. So I'm going to go ahead and go to custom stories. And if we look through here, you'll find a name called The Wake. Let's go ahead and click it, and boom, here we have The Wake by Deco Freak. You wake in a room, and this is what we did in the very first or second episode. I'm not sure which one, but this is what we set up in there. And we did. You wake in your room, not knowing what had happened. You journey the mansion to figure out everything that has taken place. So this is just a kind of like a generic story scene for Amnesia, so we might end up changing this on. And then the PNG image that I told you guys about, here it is right in this background. So whatever you put in here, you should be able to see. So now we can hit start. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. Alright, here we are. Check it out, guys. So this is the room that we very nicely designed. So when I spawned, it kind of gave me the feeling like I was falling. So we probably might want to bring down that player spawn area a little bit lower to the floor, so he doesn't just fall when he spawns. So here everything is how we designed it in the map. There we go. Everything works perfectly fine. Yeah. So and if we could check the lighting, I think the lighting looks pretty nice. Maybe over here could use some work. You can see that the ceilings look a little bit strange. It doesn't look very natural. So maybe I'll look into filling these guys out a little bit better. Same thing goes for here. Maybe we can make a mirror image of this up here, but instead of giving it this design, it's just light. But yeah, so everything here. So this is the door we locked in the 4th episode. As you can see, it doesn't let me open it, and you can't even see through it. So yeah, so here we have our wardrobe. You know, you can players can get inside here to hide, or this could be a perfect opportunity for a scare. So we'll get into those pretty soon too. And here's just the door, the one that we left open and we didn't lock, and we can come in here and see the room. Nice. So that's about it, guys, for this episode. If you enjoyed, leave a like, favorite it, and subscribe. And any comments and stuff like that of how I could do things better would really be helpful. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.